Isabel's world shatters when Jason, the love of her life, discovers her betrayal at a cozy Miami restaurant. A desperate plan to fulfill his dream of fatherhood spiraled into infidelity. Will Jason forgive her, or will her secret tear them apart forever? A gripping tale of love, deception, and second chances unfolds. The Miami sun blazed over Ocean Drive, where Isabel adjusted her laptop screen, sketching a sleek, eco-friendly condo. Her architecture firm buzzed with deadlines, but her mind drifted to the pregnancy test tucked in her desk drawer. Another negative. She sighed, glancing at her phone. Jason's text popped up. Close the deal. Dinner at our spot? She smiled, typing back a quick yes. Their favorite South Beach cafe always lifted her spirits. Isabel, 28, had transformed from a shy high schooler into a confident architect, her designs winning clients across Florida. Jason, 30, a real estate agent with a knack for sealing million-dollar deals, was her high school sweetheart. Their beachside condo hosted lively barbecues, friends toasting their perfect marriage. But one dream eluded them: a child. For months, Isabel tracked her cycles with apps, charting ovulation like a project timeline. Jason, ever the optimist, shrugged off her worry. It'll happen when it's meant to, he'd say, tossing a football in their backyard. Tonight, at the cafe, Jason leaned across the table, his eyes bright. Sold a penthouse in Brickell today. Buyer didn't even haggle. He raised his glass, clinking it against hers. Isabel laughed, but her mind lingered on the test. She swirled her wine, hesitating. Jay, maybe we should see a doctor. Just to check. His smile faded. We're fine, Nature's got this. His tone was firm, cutting off further discussion. She nodded, masking her frustration, and changed the topic to his clients' over-the-top demands. Back home, Isabel sat cross-legged on their bed, scrolling through fertility forums. Stories of couples overcoming obstacles filled her screen. One post caught her eye: a woman who'd conceived after her husband refused testing. Sometimes you take matters into your own hands, it read. Isabel's pulse quickened. The idea felt wrong, but desperation gnawed at her. Jason's dream of fatherhood, coaching a kid's soccer team, teaching bike tricks, echoed in her mind. She wanted to give him that, no matter the cost. The next morning, while Jason showered, Isabel opened her laptop. Her fingers trembled as she created a fake profile on a dating site. Just research, she told herself, selecting filters: tall, brown hair, blue eyes, Jason's traits. She uploaded a generic beach photo, no face, and named herself Emma. Within hours, messages poured in. She ignored most, but one stood out. Mark, a local gym trainer, his profile picture mirroring Jason's build. She hesitated, then typed coffee this week. The meetup was at a quiet Coconut Grove cafe. Isabel arrived early, her stomach in knots. Mark was polite, charming even, asking about her hobbies. She kept it vague, steering toward his background. Healthy, athletic, no commitments. Perfect. She left after 20 minutes, heart racing, telling herself it was just a step toward their dream. But as she drove home, a thrill sparked. For the first time in months, she felt in control. Jason noticed her late return. Client meeting run long? He asked, flipping through TV channels. Yeah, new project, she lied, kissing his cheek. Guilt twisted in her chest, but so did resolve. She'd do this for him, for them. The next week, she met Mark again, then another man, David, at a different spot. Each encounter was clinical, focused, until David's laugh made her linger longer than planned. She caught herself smiling, her guards slipping. At work, Isabel's designs piled up, but her focus split. She checked her secret email between client calls, scheduling another date. Sistine Chapel. The thrill of secrecy grew addictive. Jason's pride, his refusal to seek help, pushed her further into this double life. She told herself it was for love, but the lies stacked up. Late at night, while Jason slept, she scrolled profiles, her heart pounding with purpose and shame. One evening, Jason planned a surprise dinner at a new Coconut Grove restaurant, recommended by a friend. Isabel dressed up, hoping to reconnect, to feel like herself again. They arrived, laughing about old times. But as they stepped inside, Jason froze. Across the room, Isabel sat at a table, whispering to a man, her hand on his arm. The world stopped. Her face drained of color as their eyes locked. The man bolted. Jason's jaw tightened, and without a word, He walked toward her, the story about to unravel. Jason's steps echoed in the Coconut Grove restaurant as he approached Isabelle's table. Her heart pounded, the man's empty chair a glaring accusation. She stood, mouth dry, words failing. "Jay, I can explain," she stammered. He raised a hand, silencing her, his eyes cold. "Not here." His friend, sensing the tension, slipped out. Jason turned toward the exit, and Isabelle followed, her legs unsteady. Outside, the humid Miami air clung to them as they reached the car. In the driver's seat, Jason gripped the wheel, knuckles white. Who was he? His voice was low, sharp. Isabelle's throat tightened. She started with the truth, voice trembling. "I got tested. I'm fine. The problem's not me." She paused, watching his jaw clench. "You wouldn't see a doctor, Jay. I just wanted to give you the kid you dreamed of." Her confession spilled out, secret profiles, meetups, a plan to find a donor who looked like him. But then she admitted it got out of hand. Jason's silence was deafening. "How many?" he asked finally. She couldn't answer, tears streaming. The drive home was a void of words. At their condo, Jason's voice stayed flat. "Pack your things. Leave." Isabelle tried to protest, but his gaze stopped her cold. Upstairs, she shoved clothes into a suitcase, each item heavy with regret. She glanced at their wedding photo on the nightstand, her chest aching. Downstairs, Jason stared out the window, unmoving. She left for a friend's apartment. The doors clicked behind her final. Isabelle crashed on her friend Mia's couch, the night blurring into sobs. Mia listened as Isabelle recounted the restaurant scene, her plan, the spiral into something she couldn't control. "I thought I was fixing things," Isabelle whispered. Mia shook her head. "You broke his trust." The words stung, but Isabelle knew they were true. She avoided her phone, dreading Jason's text that never came. Instead, a lawyer's email arrived, outlining divorce terms. Her stomach dropped. Jason threw himself into work, showing condos from South Beach to Brickell. He skipped their usual haunts, avoiding memories of Isabelle's laugh at their cafe or her sketching in their backyard. Clients noticed his edge, mistaking it for drive. At night, he stared at the ceiling, replaying her words. It got out of hand. The betrayal wasn't just the men. It was her secrecy, her assumption he couldn't handle the truth. He called his sister, confessing the pain. "I feel like I failed her," he admitted. She urged him to move forward, but trust felt impossible. Isabelle quit her firm, unable to face colleagues who knew her story. She took freelance gigs, working from Mia's spare room. Each project felt mechanical, her passion dulled by guilt. She deleted her fake profile, blocked the men she'd met, but the shame lingered. Late at night, she drafted messages to Jason, deleting each one. What could I say? She thought. She started therapy, her counselor pushing her to face the truth. Her plan wasn't love, it was control. The realization hit hard. One afternoon, Jason's lawyer called. Isabelle agreed to the terms. No contest, no demands. She signed papers in a sterile office, her signature shaky. The marriage dissolved in weeks, a stack of documents replacing years of promises. Jason kept the condo. Isabelle took her books and sketches. She moved to a small studio in Wynwood, its blank walls mirroring her emptiness. She painted late into the night, her designs a way to process the chaos she'd caused. Jason joined a gym, channeling anger into workouts. A new client, Elena, a nurse with a quiet warmth, kept booking tours. Their talk started professional, square footage, ocean views, but soon turned personal. She shared stories of her hospital shifts. He opened up about his love for coaching kids' sports. Her calm presence felt safe, but he hesitated, haunted by Isabelle's betrayal. One night, over coffee, Elena sensed his distance. "You don't have to tell me everything," she said. "Just let me in when you're ready." He nodded, a spark of hope flickering. Isabelle's therapy sessions dug deeper. She admitted her addiction to the thrill of secrecy, how it filled the void of their stalled dream. "I wanted to be his hero," she told her counselor, "but I destroyed us." She started journaling, each entry a step toward accountability. One evening, she wrote a letter to Jason, not to send, but to release. "I loved you, but I lost myself," she wrote. Tucking it away, she felt a small weight lift, though the road ahead loomed long. Jason met Elena again, this time for dinner, not business. Her laugh eased a knot in his chest. As they walked along the beach, he shared a piece of his past. Not the full story, but enough. She listened, her hand brushing his. For the first time in months, he didn't feel alone. Back home, he found an old sketch of Isabelle's in a drawer, a house they dreamed of building. He set it aside, not with anger, but with clarity. Life was moving on, and he was ready to try again. Isabelle sat in her Wynwood studio, sketching a community center for a freelance client. Her pencil moved mechanically, but her mind replayed the divorce papers she'd signed months ago. Therapy had forced her to confront her actions, how her desperate plan to give Jason a child became a betrayal of their trust. She opened her journal, writing, "I thought I was saving us, but I broke everything." Her counselor's words echoed, "Own the truth to move forward." She closed the notebook, determined to rebuild. Jason, meanwhile, showed a downtown loft to Elena, the nurse who'd become a steady presence. Their conversations had grown deeper, moving from small talk to dreams of travel and family. At a Bayside food truck, Elena shared a story about a patient who'd fought for a second chance. "He reminded me life's not about perfection," she said. Jason nodded, her words stirring something. He hadn't told her about Isabelle's betrayal, but the weight of it lingered, making him question every step forward. Isabelle took a bold step, applying for a job at a small architecture firm in Coral Gables. During the interview, she pitched a sustainable park design, her passion reigniting. The firm hired her on the spot. At her first team meeting, a colleague mentioned a real estate agent, Jason, linked to a new project. Isabelle froze, her heart racing. She excused herself, splashing water on her face in the bathroom. He's everywhere, she thought, but vowed to keep her focus professional. Jason noticed Elena's patience wearing thin. Over dinner at a little Havana spot, she set her fork down. "You're holding back, Jay. I can't keep guessing what's wrong." He exhaled, then shared the outline of his past. Isabelle's secret meetups, the restaurant confrontation, the divorce. Elena listened, her expression steady but pained. "That's heavy," she said, "but I'm not her. Let me in, or this won't work." Jason reached for her hand, promising to try. Isabelle's new job kept her busy, but Jason's name surfaced again when her firm partnered with his agency on a condo development. She braced herself for their first meeting, a site walkthrough in Brickell. When Jason arrived, their eyes met briefly, his gaze guarded. They kept it professional, discussing blueprints and timelines. But as they measured a plot, their hands brushed, sparking a flood of memories. Isabelle apologized softly. "I'm trying to be better." Jason nodded, saying nothing, and walked away. That night, Jason couldn't sleep. Isabelle's apology stirred old wounds, but also guilt. Had his refusal to seek help pushed her to that edge? He called his sister, who urged him to let go. "You didn't make her choices," she said. Jason hung up, staring at a photo of him and Elena at a beach cleanup. He wanted to trust her fully, but fear held him back. The next day, he invited Elena to a kids' soccer game he coached, hoping to share more of his world. Isabelle threw herself into her project, her designs earning praise. But at a team dinner, a coworker asked about her past. She hesitated, then shared a vague version. Her marriage ended because of her mistakes. The honesty felt raw but freeing. Later, she walked along the Miami River, reflecting. She'd betrayed Jason, but also herself, chasing a dream that wasn't hers alone. She texted her counselor, scheduling an extra session to navigate the guilt resurfacing from seeing him. Elena joined Jason at the soccer game, cheering as he coached the kids with infectious energy. Afterward, they grabbed ice cream, and he opened up about his dream of fatherhood, teaching a kid to kick a ball, sharing his dad's old stories. Elena smiled, but her eyes were serious. "I want that too, but you need to trust me." Jason admitted his fear, how Isabelle's actions left scars. Elena squeezed his hand. "We'll build something new, but only if you're all in." Isabelle found a letter she'd written to Jason, never sent, tucked in her journal. She read it, her words raw. "I wanted to give you everything, but I lost myself." She tore it up, not out of anger but clarity. Sending it would reopen wounds, not heal them. At work, she avoided Jason's gaze during meetings, focusing on her designs. But when their project hit a snag, faulty permits, she took charge, negotiating with city officials. Jason watched, impressed but distant. One evening, Elena surprised Jason with a home-cooked meal at her place. Over tacos, she shared her own fear, loving someone still healing. "I'm not asking for promises," she said, "but I need to know you're ready." Jason looked at her, the weight of his past easing. "I'm ready," he said, meaning it. They kissed, a quiet promise forming. As he drove home, Isabelle's face flashed in his mind, but it didn't hurt as much. He was moving forward one step at a time. Isabelle stood on a brickell construction site, her tablet displaying the condo project's latest revisions. The collaboration with Jason's agency forced occasional interactions, each one a test of her resolve. She focused on work, presenting updated plans to the team, her voice steady despite Jason's presence across the table. He asked sharp questions about timelines, keeping their exchanges strictly professional. As the meeting ended, he lingered, then said quietly, "You're doing good work." She nodded, surprised, and left quickly, her heart unsteady. Back at her Wynwood studio, Isabelle opened her therapy journal. She wrote about seeing Jason, how his words stirred both pride and pain. Her counselor had pushed her to focus on self-forgiveness, but guilt clung like damp Miami heat. She signed up for a local art class, sketching vibrant street scenes to channel her emotions. At the first session, a classmate's story about rebuilding after a failed marriage resonated. Isabelle shared a sliver of her own, betraying her husband out of desperation. The group listened, no judgment, and she felt a spark of connection. Jason's relationship with Elena deepened. They spent weekends kayaking in Biscayne Bay, her laughter easing his guarded heart. One night, over coffee at a Coconut Grove shop, he confessed his lingering fear of trust. "I want this to work," he said, "but sometimes I second-guess everything." Elena leaned forward. "I'm not going anywhere, Jay. Just keep showing up." He invited her to meet his parents, a step he hadn't taken since Isabelle. The decision felt like shedding an old skin. Isabelle's firm landed a high-profile client, a developer planning a sustainable retail plaza. She threw herself into the design, working late to perfect solar panel placements. During a site visit, she overheard Jason's name. His agency was handling the property's sale. At the next meeting, their eyes met again, his expression softer but unreadable. She pitched her vision confidently, earning the client's approval. Jason congratulated her afterward, his tone neutral. "You've changed," he said before leaving. Her chest tightened, unsure if it was a compliment or closure. Elena noticed Jason's distraction after the meeting. At a South Beach food festival, she pressed him. "You saw her, didn't you?" Jason admitted Isabelle's presence stirred old questions. Why she'd crossed that line, whether he'd pushed her to it. Elena listened, then set her plate down. "You're not that guy anymore. Don't let her hold you back." Her words grounded him. He pulled her close, promising to focus on their future. That night, he deleted Isabelle's old texts, a small but deliberate act. Isabelle's art class became a refuge. She painted a mural of Miami's skyline, its bold lines reflecting her growing confidence. A classmate, Carlos, invited her to a gallery opening. She hesitated, then agreed, craving normalcy. At the event, they discussed their projects, his easy humor lightening her mood. When he asked her out for coffee, she declined gently, explaining she wasn't ready. "I'm still figuring out who I am," she said. Carlos nodded, respecting her honesty. She left feeling lighter, her boundaries clear. Jason coached his kids' soccer team to a local championship, Elena cheering from the sidelines. After the game, he surprised her with a key to his condo. "I want you here," he said. She accepted, her eyes bright with emotion. They spent the evening planning a trip to the Keys, a chance to escape Miami's noise. As they packed, Jason found an old sketch of Isabelle's in a closet, a nursery design they'd once dreamed up. He set it aside, not with anger, but with acceptance. That dream belonged to another life. Isabelle's Plaza project hit a snag when the client demanded faster timelines. She worked overtime, coordinating with Jason's team via email to avoid face-to-face tension. One late night, she found an old email from Jason, sent before their split, praising her talent. She closed it quickly, but it sparked a realization. She'd been rebuilding for herself, not just to prove something to him. In therapy, she admitted, "I don't need his forgiveness anymore. I need my own." Her counselor nodded, marking progress. At a project handover, Isabelle and Jason crossed paths again. She handed over final blueprints, their fingers brushing briefly. "Good luck, Jay," she said, meaning it. He paused, then replied, "You too, Is." The exchange was brief, but it felt like a door closing gently. Isabelle walked away, her focus shifting to a new client pitch. Jason watched her go, then turned to a call from Elena, her voice pulling him back to the present. Both were moving forward, their paths diverging with quiet resolve. Isabelle finalized her sustainable plaza design, presenting it to a packed room of developers in Coral Gables. Her confident delivery earned a standing ovation, securing a promotion to lead architect. After the meeting, she joined her art class friends for a celebratory drink at a Wynwood bar. Carlos, her classmate, toasted her success. "You're unstoppable," he said. Isabelle smiled, feeling grounded in her new life. She declined his invite to dance, choosing to head home and sketch ideas for her next project. Jason and Elena settled into a rhythm, splitting time between his condo and her apartment. During a sunrise jog along South Beach, Elena stopped, holding up a pregnancy test. "We're having a baby," she said, her voice trembling with joy. Jason froze, the news crashing through him. Old doubts. Isabelle's claim that the problem was his surfaced. He pulled Elena close, hiding his unease, and promised to be there every step. That night, he researched fertility issues, grappling with lingering insecurities. Isabelle's therapy sessions shifted focus to her future. She told her counselor about the promotion, admitting it felt like a milestone in reclaiming her identity. "I'm not defined by my mistakes," she said, her voice firm. Her counselor suggested volunteering to connect with others. Isabelle joined a local group building community gardens, where she met Anna, a single mother who shared stories of resilience. Their talks inspired Isabelle to mentor young architects, channeling her energy into giving back. Jason opened up to Elena about his past outs during a quiet dinner at their favorite Little Havana spot. Isabelle said, "I couldn't have kids," he confessed. "It's been eating at me." Elena took his hand. "This baby proves you're enough. We're enough." Her certainty steadied him. They started planning a nursery, picking out colors, and assembling a crib. Jason threw himself into preparations, coaching his soccer kids with renewed energy, picturing his own child on the field one day. Isabelle's garden project took her to a Miami neighborhood where she and Jason once dreamed of raising a family. As she planted seedlings with Anna, a local news crew interviewed her about the initiative. The segment aired, catching Jason's attention as he scrolled his phone. Seeing Isabelle's passion, he felt a pang, not of longing, but of recognition. She was rebuilding just as he was. He turned to Elena, who was folding baby clothes, and smiled, grateful for their shared path. One morning, Isabelle found an old letter she'd written to Jason, tucked in a box of sketches. It apologized for her betrayal, wishing him the fatherhood he'd always wanted. She read it, then burned it in her studio's sink, the act finalizing her release from guilt. At the garden, Anna noticed her lighter mood. "You seem free," she said. Isabelle nodded, explaining she'd let go of needing Jason's forgiveness. Her focus was now on creating, not redeeming. Elena went into labor on a rainy Miami afternoon. Jason held her hand in the hospital, his nerves mixing with excitement. When their son was born, his tiny cry filled the room. Jason stared at the baby, his features a blend of his and Elena's, erasing any doubt. He kissed Elena's forehead, whispering, "You gave me everything." She smiled, exhausted but radiant. They named their son Lucas, a nod to Jason's late father, a promise of new beginnings. Isabelle's mentoring program grew, with young architects flocking to her workshops. At one session, a student asked how she overcame setbacks. Isabelle shared her story, not the details, but the lesson. You can't change the past, but you can build a better future. The room applauded, and she felt a quiet pride. Later, she walked along the Miami River, sketching a new garden layout, her heart steady. She was no longer the woman who'd lost herself. Jason brought Lucas to his soccer practice, the baby bundled in a carrier. His team swarmed, asking questions, their excitement infectious. Elena joined them, snapping photos as Jason coached. That evening, they hosted a small barbecue, friends toasting their new family. Jason looked at Lucas, then Elena, and felt a completeness he'd thought impossible. The pain of Isabelle's betrayal was a faint scar, overshadowed by this new chapter. Isabelle saw the news of Jason's son on a friend's social media post. She paused, then smiled softly, closing the app. At her garden, she planted a final tree, its roots a symbol of her own grounding. She'd made peace with her choices, knowing they'd led her here, to a life of purpose, not regret. Jason, holding Lucas under Miami's stars, knew the same. Their paths, once intertwined, had found separate resolutions, each a testament to redemption through accountability.